Good morning. Well, we're going to do some more writing. We're going to take the sorting that you did and use it to turn it into an outline for your next essay. Now, I want to explain this by way of some contrast. So let's look back at an example essay from the last round we did of writing. We had this example essay of the question whether Edmund should have followed the White Witch. And the outline looked like this. It had an introduction. Edmund should not have followed the White Witch. 3 reasons. That's the enumeration, the exposition. And that gives 3 proofs. And then the second paragraph is just those 3 proofs, right? And that's your outline. Simple. And then there's a conclusion over here. Edmund should not have followed the White Witch. Summary of proof. There's your outline, whole thing. And then it turns into this sample rudimentary persuasive essay that you can see. Don't worry about the introduction and the conclusion right now. We're not writing the essay this week. That's next week. We're writing the outline. So you've sorted your ANI chart. I'm assuming you've all turned that in, sorted your ANI chart, and it's in good shape. And now you're turning that into an outline. And the outline is due on Friday. Sorry, the outline is due on Monday evening. Edmund should not have followed the White Witch is this essay. Okay, the paragraph, the middle paragraph with the proof says, the first reason Edmund should not have followed the White Witch was that her sister Lucy warned him that the White Witch was evil. The second reason Edmund should not have followed the White Witch was that he should have seen that the White Witch was evil. The third reason Edmund should not have followed the White Witch was that he acted in secret. Now, this is, you may think that the author is right, but this isn't a very convincing essay. There's not much to it. It doesn't have a lot of substance. This really needs to be a little longer, this whole thing. So here's another version of it. This is an expanded, longer version. And you can see the part in bold. It's sort of the expanded part. This now has an introduction, and each proof is its own paragraph. The conclusion and the introduction are basically the same. What we're working on with this essay is expanding the proofs so that they become more convincing proofs. The first reason Edmund should not have followed the White Witch is that he was reckless. The White Witch introduced herself to Edmund as the Queen of Narnia, but Lucy, who had already met with real creatures in Narnia, called her the White Witch. We know from fairy tales and literature that witches are evil, therefore he should not have followed evil. The second reason that Edmund should not have followed the White Witch is that he was careless. Initially, the White Witch was very cruel to Edmund, and his first instinct was to be scared of her. She fed him Turkish delight only when she wanted to get something from him. Edmund, with his own eyes, should have seen from this interaction that the White Witch was evil. The third reason Edmund should not have followed the White Witch is that he was secretive. In his very core, Edmund knew that he was doing wrong because he secretly left his siblings and the Beavers and did not discuss his plan with them. Instead of acting openly, he snuck away, probably because they would not have gone along with his plan. Edmund knows that he was betraying his family and innocent creatures. So how do you get from that simple essay, the version we saw, where it's just this very simple statement of 3 proofs, to this longer essay? Well, that's what we're doing. We're creating an outline this week that will give us a longer, more substantial essay. Sorry about that. So here's what we're going to do. Our outline this week is going to look longer. The introduction and conclusion are going to look identical to what we did last time, a couple weeks ago. There'll be a thesis, an enumeration, an exposition, and it'll say proof 1, proof 2, and proof 3. Now, what you did earlier this week was to create 3 categories of proofs from your ANI chart. When you sorted your ANI chart, you created at least 3 categories with at least 3 subproofs, what we're calling them, under each category. So each of these will be one of the categories you picked. So, for example, if I pull up my drive here, the ANI chart I was showing you guys as an example, which is not a very good ANI chart, by the way. Let's say I'm going to argue that Nissus and Euryalus should not, or Nissus should not have taken Euryalus on the night raid. My three proofs are going to be these three categories right here. I've created these categories. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 categories. I picked 3 of them. These are going to be my proofs. So I'm going to start putting together an outline right here. Now, when you're writing this outline, write the second part, the proofs, first. Proofs. And what did I say? Here, I'll just copy them. Copy and paste is a great thing to do with this. Here, and we can delete these little symbols. We don't need those right now. Those are just to help us in sorting. Now, these are my proofs. Here's what my outline should look like. Proof 1, and then each one has to have 3 subproofs. So this is where all the sorting was helpful. Unwise decision maker. So what did I have under unwise decision makers? Euryalus is young and naive. And that will be Roman, that should be Roman numeral 1. Or sorry, not Roman numeral, Arabic numeral, English. Regular number. Euryalus is young and naive. Ascanius was too young to make that decision. I didn't have this on my ANI chart. That means I should have had a bigger ANI chart. Nissus was influenced, or here I'll say was talked into it by Euryalus. That's proof A, unwise decision makers. So you see, all you're doing now is you've sorted into categories from your ANI chart. Those categories become proofs, and then with subproofs. So if I just say in my essay, you shouldn't have done this because the decision was made by unwise decision makers. If I'm reading that and I'm thinking critically about what I'm reading, I'm going to say, which unwise decision makers are you talking about? Can you give me some examples? Now I have this outline where I can say, yes, here's some examples. Euryalus is young and naive. He doesn't know what he's doing. Ascanius has never been in a battle before. We know that later. Nissus is talked into it by Euryalus because we know Nissus thinks it's a bad idea, but his friend wants to go, and he's kind of a sucker for his friend. And then the same thing, B, many advised against the plan. Can add some subproofs in here. I'm not going to do all of these, but just to be. There we go. Nissus himself thought it was a bad idea. Euryalus' mother blames him when she finds out. Etc. So this is all you're going to do. Now, after you've done this, go back and write the introduction and the conclusion. So that would be this. Actually, I can just copy and paste again, right? Go up here and copy and paste. There you go. There's an introduction. There's proofs. What's the conclusion going to look like? Well, it's going to look remarkably like the introduction. Except it won't have the enumeration. There we go. There's our whole outline. Now, yours should look like yours. It shouldn't look like mine. It should have different categories probably. Not sure my categories are the best. I just did this as an example. Hopefully this is clear. We'll have some time to talk about it tomorrow. If it's not clear, post questions below. And be patient with yourself. I'm going to be really generous with grading on this particular assignment because I think this is a challenging one, this sorting. But just do your best, try to sort the ANI chart. You want to have, so you're going to end up with 3 proofs, each of which has 9 subproofs. Okay, or sorry, not 9 subproofs, each of which has 3 subproofs. So you got a total of 9 subproofs. You really need to have that many, believe it or not. You really do. So this is due Monday evening, this outline, and then we'll turn it into an essay by the end of next week. And that'll be your last essay. I'm going to be, early next week, I'm going to give you the question for the final, and then you're going to make a 5-minute video for your final, actually, answering my question, just talking. I think that'll be fun and actually a pretty low stress final. All right, good luck and happy writing.